Reading a newspaper early morning while having a tea is common all around the world. Well, maybe not you, but your parents or grandparents may prefer to read newspaper early morning. But do you know this newspaper that provides us various sorts of information from all over the world is more than 400 years old invention? Today's newspaper is European invention which was started in mid-16th century in form of handwritten sheets which used to circulate widely in Venice, which were full of information on wars and politics in Italy and Europe. From there on the idea of weekly newspaper went from Italy to Germany and then to Holland. The era of today's printed newspaper began, from 1605 onward by Johann Carolus in Strasbourg. Other early paper of that period include Dutch Courant, Italian, Duitsland, which was founded by Caspar van Hitten in 1618. After which Europe became the hub of printed newspaper in 17th century, by printing papers in German, French, Dutch, Italian and later in English language. The first English newspaper was published in Amsterdam in 1620, after which the first successful English daily, the Daily Current, was published from 1702 to 1735. From this time news were becoming highly selective and often propagandist readers were eager for sensational news on magic, public execution, and disaster. However, during that time newspaper were quite expensive and can be afforded only by wealthy. Also the newspaper were highly censored by the government. By that time they can only printed information that do not criticize or pose threat to state. They could not print every kind of information in the paper until Swedish Parliament passed the first law guaranteeing freedom of press in 1766. Now the printing media had large variety of topics for their newspaper, but the problem was not completely gone because papers were still read by small number of people. However, this problem of newspaper had ended by 1800s, during which they adopted new technology of printing, communication, and transportation. In 1814 the Times acquired a steam rotating printing press, which was capable of printing 1100 papers per hour. This made paper cheaper and available to large part of population. Also by 1840s telegraph and phone network linked the major and minor cities, which permitted overnight news reporting. Now newspaper led to change in physical size, visual appeals, and heavy use of war reporting. But as the prosperity of newspaper increased, also the tax imposed on them. The printers were unable or unwilling to pay this fee. This problem was sorted in 1836 when Milner Gibson and Richard Cobden advocate the case in Parliament to first reduce tax and finally in 1855 totally repeal tax on newspaper. Now new journalism, we're reaching out not only to the elites but to popular masses. William Thomas Stead become most influential in demonstrating how press could be used to influence public opinion and government policies. He was well known for his reports on child welfare, social legislation, and reformation of England's criminal codes. With the advent of advertising in 19th century, the cost of newspaper fell rapidly and now it was available to much wider population. However, there was also a darker side of advertising. Now businesses and banks were secretly paying certain newspaper to promote financial interests and hide possible misbehavior. Sometime a newspaper would blackmail a business by threatening to publish unfavorable information unless businesses immediately started advertising in a paper. By the advent of 20th century newspaper faced new problem in form of radio and television. Now news was directly available to people through these new media, and don't have to wait for next day to get the news. But newspaper was seriously affected by the digital media, with rapid rise of internet and smartphone which bring news to fingertips. However, this could be seen in a positive way. Newspaper industry can use the internet and website to push their content to global audience and update their news anytime. They can also influence people directly by using social media and other digital platform. Well, that's all for today. Subscribe the channel if you like the video.